Remixing relationships. Should we marry for love or money? Can money hold you at night? And can love pay the bills? That's what we're going to talk about on this week's episode of Remixing Relationships. Let's go. Come along for the ride. Welcome to Remixing Relationships, the podcast. I'm your host, Kendall Anise, the Remix Coach, certified transformational life coach. This podcast is all about promoting healthy relationships and doing things differently. Sometimes you have to remix your way of thinking and approach to your relationships. This is a podcast for everyone at every love stage, whether you are single, engaged, or married. Growth happens at every level. Remixing your present or future relationships will help you love in a more effective way. Love from a place of healing and freedom. All right, y'all, put on your construction boots because I may be stepping on some toes, even my own. Strap in your seatbelt and grab a cold pop. Remixing relationships starts now. Y'all, we're getting ready to go for a ride. Welcome. I'm excited about this week's episode. Talking about loving and marrying for money or love. As always, let's start with this week's real moment. And now it's time for our real moment. Okay, what is the real moment, Kendall? The real moment is just having that one-on-one with you and being honest. I think we all think about that, especially when times are hard, money-wise. People think, men and women, like, this person loves me, this person wants me. I may not be in love with them, but they may have the resources. And there are so many people who lead with their money, and it is a quick thought. I'm not even going to lie, like, But y'all, my heart just won't let me do it. I have to feel the feels and love the love. And oftentimes, people don't feel that way, but I have to be honest with myself. I can't do it. I remember this one guy was like, I can do this, I can do that. And I really, really considered it. I really considered like, So it was many years ago. Could I do that? I wouldn't have a thing to worry about. But one of my friends was like, girl, just try. He loves you. He likes you. He's attractive. He has a good job. He's, got a nice personality. Girl, I don't know why. And he could do for you. He got means. And I really considered it. And one day I was like, okay, I'm going to try to be open. We're going to go out and I'm just going to make myself love him. I could not do it. And he had all the money in the world, but I couldn't do it. So that's my real moment. Now let's go on to the show. And of course, I'll be back at the end to wrap it up in a bow. So tell all your people, tell all your friends, Remixing Relationships starts now. Differently. Welcome to Remixing Relationships. This episode is all the way live because we're talking about marrying for love or money. And I'm going to go through facts, I'm going to go through details, and I'm going to ask some questions. So as always, just take a moment to share this out because we're about to go there. For those that don't know me, I am Kendall Anise, transformational life coach, certified life coach, author, podcaster, talk show host, speaker, colon cancer survivor. I've been doing this thing for well over 20 years. And I have another podcast called Shine with Kendall Anise that's in its 12th season. And I focused on relationships there. And also on social media. So if you follow me on social media, you know it is a hot spot. That is something that I candidly talk about because I think it's important to, again, promote healthy relationships. So we can stop having the 50% statistic on divorce. So we can stop bleeding on everyone else. So we can have healthy relationships. So we can do things differently. So we're not saying the same thing. Well, this is how I've always been. This is how I've always done it. I'm not going to change. We're going to keep it like this. No, we're not keeping it like anything. We're keeping it healthy. And so many people have been in so many toxic relationships. Even if you think you had an amazing relationship or you had a lot of years under your belt, a lot of relationships are unhealthy. But what happens is many people, I've done it myself, many people are used to how something was, so people begin to think that it's normal, and it's not really normal. It is just a way of doing things that you have become accustomed to, even in your own families of origin. There are a lot of times that people say, well, this is how it was when I grew up, and it worked for my mom and dad, or it worked for my grandparents, and a lot of times it didn't. They just made it work and they stayed together. Your past has no place in your future and present unless it's there as a testimony to help you learn from it. That's what I always say. All right, we're going to get right to it. This show is sponsored by Happy Hibiscus. I just drank mine. This is my hibiscus tea. Go to livingtruelivingyou.com to learn more about that. Welcome, 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 welcome if you are watching live on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, and more. All right, love or money, which one are you marrying for? Let me know. I want to hear from you. As I was preparing for the show, I was thinking about the OJs. Money, 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 money. Some people got to have it, right? Thinking about that, and then I was thinking about Money, Power, Respect by the Lox, and I thought about For the Love of You. I can't sing, y'all, but the Isley Brothers. And then, I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke, right? And the Beatles classic, Can't Buy Me Love, but I had to have New Edition thrown in there if it isn't love. So if it isn't love, what is it? What are you marrying for? Are you marrying for love? Are you marrying for money? Are you marrying for status? We're going to talk about all of that. So please share this out to all your peoples because we're getting ready to dive deep. All right. So marrying, I have my notes. Y'all know I always got my notes here as I prepare. So marrying for love or money, is one right or is it a preference? What do you all think? So when I think about love and money, I often think about spaces and places that we've been, right? Where somebody might have had money and you're like, okay, some people just roll with it. I'm gonna get everything I got. And I don't love them, but they got the coin that I need. I remember years ago, I used to work with this girl, and she was in the office almost teaching a master class, if you will, on being with somebody with money opposed to being with somebody who does not have none. And I'll tell you the story about that. It's wild. And some of you might say, oh yeah, that's what I do. That's what I've done. But listen to this. So, and I also used to work with a girl, and her mother told her when she was getting married, you don't have to love them. You can grow to love them. You don't have to love them. You marry for money and then you grow into love because I want to make sure you're good. You hear a lot of parents saying that. Don't marry no scrub who ain't got no money. You want to do that. I've heard it all. Not personally to me, but I've heard it. So I used to work with this girl. And we were in the office one day, and she said, watch this. She said, I only deal with men with money. Forget about love. I need to get what I can get from them. And she's called and she said, watch, I got one that's going to pay this bill, one that's going to pay the other bill, and that's how we're going to do this thing. When I tell you lickety split, those guys were up there with the cash. And she was like, I told you, she said, I ain't got time to love. And most of the time, my life coach hat, most of the time, it is because you have been hurt by love that you're not willing to love or let yourself be open or vulnerable in that space anymore because you've been hurt by love. So now you're like, whatever, I'm going to marry or be with somebody because of the money. I just want to read some statistics to you guys, as I always do. And thank you for joining live. I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, definitely leave them here. All right. So my first statistic, I want to talk about this because it is deep when you think about it and you think about relationships and why people marry and why people divorce. So various studies, this is Psychology Today, various studies show, well, no, let me read this one. I'm going to save that one. So let's talk about, I want to take this one. All right. So let's talk about, according to many studies, money plays a significant role in the people's decision about choosing a romantic partner. In 2019, 56% of Americans surveyed by Merrill Edge said that they would prefer a partner who provides financial security over being head over heels in love. They don't got time for that. The sentiment was almost equally held by both men and women, but Generation Z was the only group that chose love over money. Don't y'all find that interesting? So the younger ones were like, they want love. And that makes sense because think about all the reality shows that are on trying to find love. 90 Day Fiance, Love is Blind, Love Island. What is the other one when they're all in the cubes? I can't think of that one. But they're the dating apps and all the love shows and the matchmaking shows. That's what people are watching. My daughters were going crazy over Love Island. The whole country was in a certain age bracket. They even had their parents watching it. I've heard young people say we're rewatching it with our parents. So that was like the number one show. Pew Research Center reports in 2019, 90% married respondents surveyed by Pew Research said that they married their spouse for love. We're going to talk about that. And the smaller percentage said it made financial sense. So when we think about that, and we're going to go through the statistics, and I'm so glad that it's not the money over that. I've had situations where I have known men with a whole lot of money and offering to provide this or provide that or do this or do that, anything that you want and need and all of that. And although those things sound enticing, and men have it as well, when it comes to, a lot of women will spend a lot of money on these brothers and they will put them right up on the couch and say, hey, you don't got to do nothing. So it's not just the men. There are a lot of men that will allow a woman to take care of them financially, and they contribute absolutely nothing and do absolutely nothing. And there's a lot of women out there who will do the same. And if you're an old school man, and I'm going to talk about that as well, they want to take care of everything. They don't want you to do anything. But I've had a couple of people who had substantial income, like, any businesses that you want, anything that you want to do, I got you. You don't got to worry about your bills. I was divorced, single mom. I got you. I got your kids, all of that. And although it sounds enticing, although it sounds nice, I could never be with somebody just for money. I couldn't do it because I have to have some compatibility. We have to be evenly yoked. We got to be able to laugh together, have conversations. So even though money is enticing, especially if people are lacking money, then that does sound appealing. But at the same time, do you want to be with somebody just for money? And some people will be like, heck yeah, I do, because it's real in these streets, you know? But you have to ask yourself that. I know men, like I said, who were willing to be kept in that financial way and to have that, you know, freed from their brain and their consciousness, because many folks who don't have money focus on money. The people that have money focus on how to get more money. I want to read some more statistics from, y'all know, if you listen to me or listen to my other podcasts, you already know. Psychology Today. Now, of course, we know money can't buy love, and some people will beg to differ and say, oh, but it can sure make me comfortable, right? Someone said that love and money play a significant, well, Psychology Today, and then I'm going to go into some folks. So, love and money play a significant role when making romantic decisions. Though we may not like to admit it, we are often attached to wealthy individuals, hoping to enjoy the benefits of their wealth. However, being offered direct payment for romance or sex would be offensive and vulgar for many reasons. So what it's saying is, some people want it. It's almost like a give and take. If I give you, what are you going to give me? We do have people out there that want that transactional type of thing. Like, hey, I'll pay your bills. I'll do whatever, both men and women. But, you know, it got to be a with them. What's in it for me? And it's transactional. This is what women say about money and love. I met a woman who was married to a member of one of the wealthiest families in the world. This is from Psychology Today. One day on a plane journey, she sat next to a completely ordinary guy with a completely ordinary job who was easygoing and kind. They fell in love. She left her husband, married the ordinary guy, and they are still in love today after many years, right? So then you hear another one. Nothing in life is free. Marrying him just for the money means you have been bought and sold. He will expect a certain level of performance from his new acquisition. So think about that. So do you think that if you love for money, it's just your acquisition now? You're not a love? Because what is it? And can you have both? Think about that. And one person says, nothing in life is free. Marrying him just for the money means you have been bought and sold. He will, that part, I read that one. Absolutely don't agree with, I absolutely do not regret marrying a rich man. Money will not ease the stress of marriage if you do not have a loving relationship. Someone said, I'd rather marry rich, definitely. It's so much easier to create things when you already have money. I can understand that. I still wouldn't marry for money, but I can understand that. All right, I want to go back to my notes for a minute. I hope y'all doing good. Thank you for watching. Let's see. Comments. Hey. Would you love for money? That's the question. That's what we're talking about. We are talking about marrying for love or money. All right, so why do some marry for money? Let's get right into it. Financial stabilities, no worries. Money tends to make people more attractive in some cases. That's what some people feel. And lifestyle. If you want a lavish lifestyle, or if you want a lifestyle of I ain't got to worry about these bills, or I can go when I want to go, I can do what I want to do financially, and it takes the stress off, then that is why some people marry for money. Some people tell their daughters that they have to marry for money. They should marry for money. And some people are telling their men, so they have to marry for money or marry into a well-off family, so you never have to worry about money. And a lot of people who have grown up with lack tend to tell possibly their children that, or tell themselves that. Let's see. Maybe they need money. Yeah, and some people, we all need money, right? But so a Forbes article says 38% of divorcing couples say financial problems are the reason for divorce. We know that's up there with lack of intimacy, lack of communication, and lack of money. Those are the top 3 reasons people get divorced. And we're looking at the divorce rate is 50-50. 50 of the folks make it and 50 don't. You know, as a divorced woman, I understand 50%. I can understand why in some cases that folks are divorcing. And now people, shoot, you look at them with a cross-eyed, they're like, I'm filing for divorce. You look at them left, you know. So it's so easy to do now. And some people say, well, back in the day, people weren't divorcing like that, or maybe they didn't have issues or problems, or because they married for love. It was just different. Now there's so many options out there. There's so much that people are doing as far as healing and going to therapy, seeing life coaches, understanding their value and worth and what that looks like. And they're bouncing. Whereas before, you know, it was no matter what it is, I'm going to turn a blind eye to it all, and we going to still be together, like they said on in Living Color. All right, so other sources say 20 to 40% of 10 marriages they polled ended because of money. According to Credit Karma, y'all, 1/3 of respondents in their study ended relationships due to money disagreements. Now, money disagreements could be somebody ain't making enough, or somebody's spending too much, somebody's a saver, somebody is a spender. It doesn't necessarily mean because they married for money. Finances affect marriages. Let's just be honest. Let's keep it all the way 100, because that's what we do here, right? It does affect some marriages when it comes to money, because if you're lacking money in your relationship, you're not going to get to the love as quickly. You're going to be ready to say, okay, you know what? It's whatever. Good night. Go to sleep, right? Or you're going to be arguing about how the bills are going to get paid, or how somebody doesn't have the money for this or that. I can see that being contentious in a marriage. I can see that being a place of buildup, right? If one thing happens after another to the point where they cannot take it anymore, and they're trying to be out of that thing. So definitely, we're going to keep it all the way real. That's what we do here. But we are going to remix some things, and we're going to talk about that towards the end and make a difference. Let's see. That's not really love if you marry for money. That's what my cousin says. So I pose this question to all you listeners, right? So can you marry somebody for money who you love? So you're falling in love with, and you hear older people say this, I've heard older women say, you can fall in love with a rich man just like you can fall in love with a poor man. And when it's so interesting, if you listen to people talk, you'll get to learn a lot about some things. And I've heard women say, like, ain't this a blip? This guy want to give me the world, but I don't even want the world. I want love over here. And it doesn't mean that the person has to be broke so much, but, and I do believe in building with each other, but money does put some type of wedge in between someone in a relationship, if that is the focus. Now, I'm all for making money together. Let's get it together. We can be rich together. We can have our money together. But in my opinion, love really sustains, right? Love survives a multitude of things. All right. So is there truth to marrying for money? Is it the way to go? What do you guys think? Do you think that like the woman one of the women I used to work with, her mother telling her, you learn to love down the line. Marry somebody who can take care of you. Marry somebody who has a coin, and then later on down the line, love will come into play after that. That's what she was told. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that it should be all love? Folks are saying that it's a 50-50 when I did a poll, that it is not the move to marry just for money. Regular working, let's talk about some of the things, right, that we see online or we hear in movies or we hear our friends talk about. That's the thing, that whole 50-50 situation. Not too long ago, that was a trend on social media. Folks were talking about the 50-50 because there were some interviews on Shannon Sharp and Cam Newton's podcast, and they were talking about that. Tabitha Brown even weighed in because folks were mad at Miss Tabitha Brown because she retired her husband and he doesn't have to work anymore. And everybody's like, why would you retire your husband? Wendy Williams chimed in. Everybody's like, what? But I totally understand. He moved out to California for her to pursue her career. In the midst of that, he decided to be on the police force. That is a dangerous job, especially where they were. And she was like, that was stressful for him. That was stressful for her. And he said, her husband Chance said he didn't even know how to handle that because as a man, he wants to be the breadwinner and take care, make sure his wife is taken care of and all that good stuff, right? But she's like, listen, we have the means now. You've been riding. We didn't have nothing together. We had absolutely nothing together. We had our love. We didn't have no money. But now that I've acquired all of this money because of my dreams and my job, you ain't got to work there no more. And she said, I want to free you up to live your dreams. He was a basketball coach. He was doing things. She said, I want you to be able to do what you want to do. He said he was messed up. He didn't even know how to handle that. And a lot of men do not know how to handle that, especially if they're used to being the provider. So folks are talking about the 50-50 situation. And will you pay 50% of the bills in the household? And everybody's like, only broke dudes do that. Ain't no guy with money and means going to tell his wife she got to pay the cable bill. And that was a whole thing. So, and then you have Lisa Ray, honey. I was talking about her the other day. Lisa Ray, you could just search her on YouTube. She like, I ain't dating no broke man. That's one of my prerequisites. He has to have means. He has to have money. He has to have wealth. I'm not pulling out my wallet. I ain't taking care of nothing. I could never be with somebody who works at BK, flipping burgers. I could never do that. She said, because I can take myself where I want to go. I can do what I want to do. And she was like, and then she was on Trick Daddy's podcast. And he said, well, what about pretty much like 50-50 as we're going back to that? She was like, oh, you already imagine what she said. She was like, absolutely not. Me pay what bill? And I'm in there with him. And she was like, absolutely not. And then you guys know the podcasters, and now he's on Sisters, but DeVal Ellis and Kadeen Ellis, they talked about, DeVal said he pays all the bills. It's his legacy for his family, to take care of his family and for him to be a leader. He wants her to find comfort in that. And she makes a lot of money herself, she says, and that's her money. Whatever she makes is her money. And he said it was a point where, of course, they didn't have money and she didn't have money and they didn't have money. At one point, he was an NFL player. He lost a contract and just like Tabitha Brown, manifested and prayed and did the work to really live out his dream. And he was like, ain't no 50%. He was on Cam Newton's podcast like, no, we're not doing that. He's like, as the man I am. And there's a lot of men that feel that way that are old school. Some of these new men, they like, I want her to take care of me. I ain't paying nothing. She got to even, if we getting pot roast, what's your half of the pot roast? You got $7.50, I got $7.50. Let's go on and get this pot roast. You got some like that. And then you have some, you're reading in the headlines, all of these men trying to take the women's money. Different celebrities have gone through that. Halle Berry has gone through that. Sherry Shepherd publicly has gone through that, where he was marrying her for her money. so he can sit at home and not do anything. That's what she says. And now she's paying all of this money to him for somebody that she was married to for a short time. And he married because he wanted to be taken care of. So it's not, I know when most people think about marrying love for love or money, most people think, will a woman marry for love or money? But sometimes men do that too. Let me go to some of your questions, and thank you for watching and listening. I'm not a roommate, no 50-50. And thank you, Regina, for that. No 50-50. And so many people do that. Or some men will say, okay, I'll take care of the mortgage or the rent, and you take care of the small bills. So are y'all down for that? Or are you like, no, absolutely not. But then some people are not even in a position to try to do that because they look up and the man's done covered everything. And like DeVal said, he's taking care of that all. So that might not be loving for married, for money. But this is the thing. If you are together when both of you don't have anything, and then you elevate and ascend together to a place of financial freedom, and you do have money, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But then some people, what happens is you put people in a bad position who have money, and then now they're like peeking around corners, making sure nobody ain't trying to use them for their money. And that has to be difficult. I'm not rich yet, or I'm not a millionaire yet, but that has to be difficult when you're in that position and you don't know if somebody is marrying you for love or marrying you for money. So sometimes people withhold. You've seen these romantic movies. I'm a sucker for a Christmas romance movie, and you got a lot of them where he wants to find a woman, or you talk about Coming to America, wants to find a woman, but he doesn't want to tell her how much he makes or what he does or what his legacy is, because he wants to find a woman who loves him for him. And the same with women. Some women got some bank, and they want to make sure, I'm looking at one right here on here. She got all the businesses and all of that. And so it's difficult when men try to do it as well. I ain't for using nobody. That's my thing. And if somebody marries for money and that works for them, hey, do your thing. I'm not judging that. But it has to be something more than money. I have been down that road, I told you, where meeting men with money is not hard to do. Meeting men with money that want to spend it on you is not hard to find, depending on what circles you're in, depending on what you're attracting. It's not hard to do. But to have something meaningful, it gotta be. Now, if you fall in love with somebody and they happen to have money, then that's a great combination. But it can't be just for that. I remember my girlfriend was like, "But he got so much money and businesses. You can't try? Like, you can't try to love him?" And for like 2.2 seconds, I tried, but I can't. My heart doesn't lie. Like, I'm very authentic when it comes to my heart and when it comes to my feelings. But there's so many people like, I'll figure out the love part later. He said he's going to buy me this new whip. Let me go on and get that. We about to close on this house. I'll figure out the love part later. There's a lot of people doing that. And love and money is enticing, right? Especially if your money is a little funny. I can pay the power bill. Let's see comments. I can pay the power bill, the food, and the miscellaneous. Okay, so you're willing to compromise when it comes to paying the bills. Money can get old quick when you are not in love with the person. I totally agree. And I'm gonna choose love every time, because we're gonna do it together, honey. We're gonna make our money together. So I will choose love every time. It will get old, because check this out. You in a big old mansion, you're driving the car of your choice, or you have a choice of cars to drive. The refrigerator is stocked. The vacations are booked. all of that, right? It can get old after a while if you're in that big old house and ain't no love in there. Y'all ain't talking, but he making sure to build. What I have found with people with money is, with men with money, is they think that the money is the solution to everything. Like, oh, you need love? Well, I'm going to send you to the spa. Or, oh, you need to, oh, I'm going to make sure, you're good. You got gas in your car. Like, they will throw money on everything and think that that is the way to rectify a problem. That's what people with money do. They think money is the solution to everything. And sometimes you just want the person there, right? Not working, but there meaning emotionally there. Well, sometimes marrying for love will leave you emotionally broke. How about that? All right, should you marry for love? Experts say it's a personal choice. That's what I say. Some say love is fickle and marriage is based on love is shaky, y'all. Some people say if you marry for love, that is shaky because love is not stable. You can love somebody today and not love somebody tomorrow. And money is something that it can keep growing. But marrying for love is not stable. That's what the people say. That's what the people were saying. Loving the wrong person ain't stable. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Yes. In that movie when his name was Charles. Why his name got to be Charles though? But yes, she was marrying for that. And then what happened in that situation? I'm going to read some statistics to you about that. Not Diary of a Mad Black Woman, but these statistics here. I want to talk to you about this. So according to multiple studies, money plays a significant role, as we talked about, in people's decision to get married. But so does love. And when we talk about love and marriage, we can't help but to talk about the components of that, right? And some people, it's difficult for them to, so various studies indicate that money plays a significant role in choosing a romantic partner. In one survey, about 56% of Americans said that they would prefer a partner who provided financial security to feeling and being head over heels in love. Only 44% of people said that they'll choose to head over heel in love. The other people was like, show me the money, like Jerry Maguire. And it asks, is it better to marry for love or money? And with everything, that is a personal choice. But psychology today, or psychological research, says that when facing a choice between a long-term partner and the ability to benefit from them in a financial way, and a partner who is willing to benefit through love, is pretty high. Love is the real investment, y'all. It's not the money. Focusing on how the money or power your partner possesses can help you reach your goals slowly robs them of the personhood, according to a study published in the British Journal of Social Psychology. The researchers refer to this pattern as instrumental perspective. So what do you guys think about love being the biggest investment? I'm for that. Happiness pays dividends. And I like how they put money and love together. Would you rather live an affluent life with someone you have a lukewarm feeling towards or a difficult life with someone who brings out the best in you? That's a great question. Would you rather live an affluent life with someone you have lukewarm feelings for, or difficult times? It reminds me of that Luther song. I'd rather have hard times with you than good times with someone else. That's exactly what that song is about. Let's see what the comments are saying. Great. So what do you all think? Would you marry for love or will you marry for money? So when I think about, it says choosing a rich partner you may not be compatible with might lead to lower relationship satisfaction, a poorer quality of life, and frequent negative emotions. Choosing a partner you enjoy spending time with and even admire can fill your life with joy and a sense of purpose. It might be wise then to be in a relationship where both partners are first and foremost happy with each other, and the positive of emotions will propel you into generational wealth together as a unit. And that's what I say. That's what I say. So when you think about love, and it says, in my research, it states that marriages tend to be happier and eventually last longer when couples are in love. Pew Research Center says 88% of Americans say love is very important and it's the reason that people should get married. Men and women alike. So when we think about that, it's interesting how we think. We think that when it's time to marry for money, then it's the women, right? And I think sites like sugarbabies.com and all of these websites where you can find sugar daddies and men want to spend the money on you and all of that. Some of them men probably don't even have any money. Let me see. Nothing wrong with him having money, but I have to love him too. Exactly, Nakia. I'm with you on that. Now, if you can find, a duo, that's a win-win, right? But if you have somebody, I believe, with potential, and you have somebody that's not just potential, because potential, and if you ain't doing nothing, that ain't really hitting on nothing. But if you have potential and you're actively working, you're actively doing, then I would take that over somebody who has money, because everybody is not good with money, and everybody didn't get their money by working hard or because they had good money management. Some people are left with money, and that's totally different. So you can't see a grind in somebody who had it. Now, if you can maintain it and you can flip it and you can allow your money to make money, that is something different. But the top reasons why people get married is 9 out of 10 Americans say it's because of love. So I'm glad to see that that number is higher with people like, you know what, I just love him. I just love her. And that's really what it's about. So the question is, marrying for love or money, which one do you choose? And do you have an opinion at all? And have you ever been in a situation where you married for money and you were miserable, or you married for love and you were broke? Or were you able to build together? Let's see what you guys are saying as we end this show. All right. So the remixing of relationships and doing things differently when it comes to love, when it comes to money, when it comes to all of that, right? It's about choosing differently. So let's just say that you have married for money, or you have been in relationships where it was all about the money. Ask yourself, was that something that sustained your relationship? And did your relationship end because that was the only thing you had? Or are you in a relationship where you said, okay, I'll learn to love later, and when I get back from Aruba, because I married for money, and did it work out for you? Or have you always chose love and you were able to build something with the person you love? Because at the end of the day, I believe that that's more meaningful. And the remixing part of your relationship in this is to really remix your thoughts, to really think about it, right? Think about it from a place of longevity. Think about it of a place of when you're getting older, right? When you're in the car for a long car ride, when you have to have tough conversations, when you want to laugh, right? And you're just not even feeling that person, you're just feeling their bank account. Think about that, right? That's where the love is. So sometimes we as people need to remix how we think, because a lot of times it's based off of hurt, or based off of unhealed spaces, or based off of experiences that we had prior to getting into that relationship, where maybe you struggled in a relationship and you said, the next time I get into a relationship, it got to be with somebody with money, because I'm not going through this anymore. And you went after a relationship for the wrong reason. Because sometimes when it's money, and that whole money, power, respect, some people will hold money over your head in the relationship. And there are plenty of people who want to leave a relationship because they found out and discovered that money wasn't going to sustain their relationship. And now they're stuck because the person with money, it's a possibility, you see it all the time, where they can't afford to leave. So now they're in this cycle of confusion, and a cycle of feeling unloved and unworthy, and it's a lot of people use money to control. So now they're stuck because they can't even get out of the relationship, because they let somebody take care of them completely and it was the wrong person. So people run into that situation. Everybody with money does not control you with money. Everybody with money does not share it with you. But in some cases it's like that. So I just want you to think about it. All right, as we end, do we have any final questions, guys? Final comments? All right, this is Remixing Relationships, and I want you to think about some things and do things differently than you have before. If it worked for you before, continue doing it, but take some wise eyes into the situation. But if you're in the process of looking for love now, or you want to be married, because we had this conversation, actually I had this conversation about Lisa Ray, 2 days ago? We were talking about, Charles and I were talking about Lisa Ray, and I was showing him different clips where she was like, I'm not dealing with no broke dude. And she wants to get married. And he asked, was she married yet? And I'm like, no. And she's been saying this for a long time. I know when I first heard her say it, it was about 10 years ago. And, not to say she can't get nobody. She's a beautiful woman. Got, I like Lisa Ray, right? But, and she's been dating, but she only will date a certain caliber of people. And she said she really wants to get married. But there's a section of men really that she's excluding because she doesn't want a broke man. But I look at it like this too. Like she says, she can go on any trip, she could do whatever she wants and all of that. And she doesn't want anybody who is working a 9 to 5 and he's trying to get time off to travel and different things like that, or can't afford his ticket and all of that. But maybe she can invest in him and help him build. That's a possibility, but I don't think she's doing that. And a lot of people wouldn't do that because of traditional roles. And she said her father took care of her whole life and took care of his mother and the other women in his life. She talks about that. So why at this state in the game should she have to do that? So what do you guys think about that? I want to hear from you. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel like you enjoyed this show and this blessed you, or you learned something, definitely share this out on your social media outlets, as well as text this to somebody who may want to hear and join this conversation. You can always comment. You can always leave a question. And before we end season 1, I have a lot of list of subjects I'm going to talk about. But if you want to hear a particular subject on this podcast, Remixing Relationships, let me know. You can drop it in any of the comment sections wherever you're listening or watching, or you can always email me at kendelanice@gmail.com. Let me see, I have one last question. Do you think it's too late for someone in their 60s to get married? I don't think so. I don't think so either. I was just looking online. Somebody in there, the man was in his 80s and the woman was in her 90s, and they got married. As long as you still have life in your body, as long as you still know how to love, And, at that stage in the game, sometimes they want companionship. They want a travel partner. They want somebody to sit down and eat with. But no, I don't think it's too late. 60 is not old anymore. That's not old. It's not back in the day. So no, I definitely don't think that it's too late to get married. You can get married whenever you want to get married. If you're 99 and you say, doggone it, I want to get married, you can get married. You can always love. That's the beautiful part of it. Because somebody that's 90 years old or somebody that's 70 years old, trust and believe, they ain't pursuing nobody just because of a paycheck or because they have money. They're looking for love. They're looking for happiness. They're looking for companionship. Let me see. Vivica Fox too. Exactly. Vivica Fox has just turned 60 last week. And she's saying that she always went for a six-pack and a smile. And she married a regular guy or a singer. And she found out that he didn't want to work no more because she had money. And he stopped pursuing his dreams. He stopped eagerly working and hustling like he was doing to become this artist. I think his name was 6ix9ine. And she was like, she ain't doing that no more. She's not taking care of no more men. And she was about to get married to one. It was a few weeks before the wedding. Her sister and her brother was like, you cannot marry him. He's pretty much, no, because he wasn't on her level financially or he wasn't on her level career-wise. But she was marrying for love. She got married for love, and he didn't have the means, and she was engaged, about to get married again. And a couple of weeks before, her siblings was like, because the same thing that happened before is going to happen now. So she said she was mad about the I think she said $13,000 that she put out, but her siblings said, look, you're going to put out a lot more than that if you end up marrying him. And she canceled it. Everything was paid for. She canceled it. So clearly, even though Lisa Ray and Vivica Fox are great friends, they look at it differently because she was marrying people who had less than her. So I would venture out to say, and hearing her say, she's looking for love and she's looking for companionship. She just turned 60. So I totally agree. And I believe that she can find it. And I pray that she does. If that's the desire of her heart, I pray that she gets that. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching. As always, this week, this will be on the audio portion of the podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, Podcast Addict, and so much more. And when you listen to the audio part, because it comes on a little later than this, you do get a little more of the podcast. So don't forget to subscribe. If you are watching my YouTube channel, please subscribe to that. And if you are listening to the audio portion, please subscribe, comment, and rate the podcast. All right, God bless y'all. Peace. You are watching Remixing Relationships. I am your host, the Remix Coach, Kendall Anise. God bless y'all. Peace.
All right. How did you like that episode? It was real, right? For the love or money. For love or money. Have you decided which one do you love, for money? Or excuse me, I should say, do you marry or get with somebody or date somebody because of money? Or ultimately, do you want that love? I want to love like that. Do you want to love like that, or do you just want money? Because it really is a personal choice, and you have to make that choice. And I know because of hurt and pain, sometimes you be like, I ain't doing that no more, as I said in this episode. But you got to really think about it. And it's all about remixing how you think about things. Just because you have always done something doesn't mean that you have to continue to do it that way. Because, as I stated, you could have been in an unhealthy relationship or been in unhealthy relationships, and that's all you know. Or you could have struggled growing up or struggled as an adult and said, you know what? I don't want no broke dude because, or I don't want no broke woman because I had it and this happened. Every situation is not the same. Every person is not the same. Everybody's ideologies and ideas about and surrounding money and love is not the same. You want to find somebody that you're compatible with, someone that you can grow with, and both of you come to the table with a little something and multiply and add that way. Now, if you fall in love with somebody with money, then that is a win-win. Bingo! You got it. But let's try love the right way and the most healthy way. Because I guarantee if you're dealing with somebody, man or woman, that has the qualities to get that money and create new ideas and to invest and all of that, y'all gonna have some money anyway. Y'all gonna be able to do what you want to do. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. As always, share this out and subscribe to the podcast if you are able to do that on the platform you're watching, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. And working on the audio, I keep trying different mics. We're going to get the right mic for the audio. So thank you so much for your patience. I love you guys. See you next week. What will we be talking about? You'll have to find out then. God bless y'all.
Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Kendall Lanice, TikTok, The Remix Coach. And for more information about me and how to book a life coaching session, go to KendallLanice.com. Thank y'all and God bless. Thank you for listening and watching Remixing Relationships, the podcast. This show is brought to you by Happy Hibiscus, 100% organic, great health benefits. Visit livingtruelivingyou.com for more information. Thank you for listening. God bless y'all. Peace.